Innovative content. Global audience.
Parental love is characterized by warmth, affection, care, love, nurture, and a lot more. This a lot of parents show in so many ways. While children are gifts from God and they have a way of lighting up the environment, the home, a lot of people have the opinion that children tends to bring some kind of disconnect between couples. Do you share the same thoughts? Are your children bringing love between you and your couple, your husband or your partner, or they are bringing that kind of division, or they are stealing the love away? A lot of people just say children just steal the love of their mom away. You know, when you have an infant or a newborn, that love, that joy, you tend to just be carried away. And sometimes, you forget your partner, your husband, or the wife, and then the love is automatically transferred to that newborn. How true is this? How factual is this? Anyway, I'm not a mother yet, so I can't say. But of course, I have with me today live a strong mother, a strong woman, a CEO, a woman activist that I will be bringing on the show this morning to tell us this. She is a mother, she has been married for such a long time. So just maybe she will answer these questions you wish to know, just like I wish to know myself. This is Romance and Relationship. I am Princess Kessy, reaching you live from my SRTV studio here in London. Good morning and welcome to the show. And I have with me Mrs. Evelyn Oba Joseph. She is a mother, she is the wife, she is a strong woman. She's capable, and that is why I brought her on the show. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Princess Kessy. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Sure, it's always a pleasure. You know now, it's always a pleasure. So, ma'am, quickly, I know you've been married for such a long time. Your mothers were a very loving mother to your kids and loving wife to your husband. That is why I choose to have you as my guest today. Now, tell us, what's it like, the relationship between husbands and wife when they are not when there's no kid involved and when there is a kid involved? Is there anything that changes at that point in time?
Oh, certainly, there's a change. There is a change. Before the kids come in, it's just you and your husband. There's nothing that takes up your attention as much. All of your attention, all of the romance, all of the love in you is directed towards him and he's towards you.
See
So
what's
there's
you.
definitely a change when the children come in because there is something else that takes your attention, that takes your love, especially when the children are young age. They are very demanding. They need
Okay.
a lot of nurturing. They need a lot of attention. So
Okay.
there is definitely a change when they come in, but I will not say it is a bad change.
Big bad
It is
change.
not a
Okay.
bad change. No, it's a good change because now there is something both of you love. There is something both of you care for. There is something both of you are attracted to. So, personally, I would say it even creates a stronger bond for
Now
you.
I was gonna ask you that question after my first question. That do
All
children,
right.
kids actually make their parents stronger in love, or create that distance a little bit? Like you did say that when you have kids, you know that okay, this baby needs my attention. It's not fully 100% against your husband because you're divided. Probably as a wife, you're divided. You're here, you're there. But since you said so, how stronger can a children make their parents to be?
Um, I think it depends on the affection shown from both ends. Personally, it strengthened my relationship because we both love our kids equally. I would say we both love our kids, so there was no form of division. There was no form. It created a stronger bond because I love my children as much as my husband loves our children. So we tend to it strengthened our bond. Personally, I would say yes.
And now, so when we talk about our kids and we talk about couples, what are
Yes.
some of the advantages, disadvantages of having kids when couples are together? What are some of the, when the kids come, what are some of the things that changes, and some of the things that are added? I want you to list some of this for the viewers to hear.
Oh, kids bring a whole different kind of joy. They bring a whole different kind of joy, a whole different kind of bonding. That's, like I said earlier, both of you have something. There is now a link, there is a connection, that a physical connection. This is not just something you feel for your partner anymore. You look at this child, you know that this child is a result of your love, is the result of the love between both of you, so it strengthens you. And the disadvantage, I don't know, I don't like to call it a disadvantage, but I would
Okay.
say the disadvantage is probably, yes, they divide, the fact that your attention is not solely on your partner
So that
anymore.
means there is a disconnect at some point in time.
At some point, yes, at some point there is a little disconnect. So it is intentional. You have to be intentional about caring for your partner still. You have to be intentional to remember that they are there, that they still need this care, they still need this love, they still need this affection. So you don't turn it 100% onto the children. You still give something to your partner.
And
Yeah.
as a married woman and of course as a mother of many children, do you
Yes.
think is there any point in time when men tend to be tired at that point? Okay, and they tend to drift away because you are carried away or you are so close to the children, and men just get tired at some point and tend to like drift away from the other partner. Is it
Oh
possible?
yes, certainly, certainly. There are times like that do occur. That is especially when they notice that you're not giving them the attention anymore. That is why I say
Okay.
it is an intentional thing. So the fact that you have kids now does not mean you should totally neglect your partner or your husband. You don't totally neglect them, because a lot of times when you totally neglect them and they see that you are now solely giving all of your children, all of your attention to the children or to the child, as the case may be, some men are outspoken. They can talk to you about it. Some are not. They'll just
Quietly
disconnect,
go their way,
quietly
JJ.
go their way and seek their affection somewhere else. So
Somewhere
it's
else.
very important that as much as you care for your children, you create time, intentional. You're intentional about it, because truthfully, it is overwhelming when
Okay.
kids come, especially young kids. They
Young
are
kid.
they can be overwhelming. They can't do anything for themselves. They need you to do everything for them. So
For
you
them.
find yourself being caring, being nurturing, being loving to them, and there is little or no time for your partner. But you have to be intentional when you make it a thoughtful thing. We create a tradition to keep your relationship going, even while you keep the kids going.
Okay, now we know that, like you did say, that children you have to do practically do everything for children. There is nothing children kids can do for themselves. Of course,
Yes.
they need the love, the support, the nurture, the care of their parents to grow emotionally and physically. And on that note, what should couples do? Being a woman that's been married for some time now, what should they do when a time like this comes, so that people don't drift apart, so that people they don't there is no disconnect? How can they survive this?
At this point, it's I've been saying it a lot of times. Intentional. It is an intentional. You have to put in the effort. You have to be mindful that there is a partner, that you have a husband, that there is someone else that needs your attention. There's someone else that needs your love. So you have to be intentional. I personally, we created a tradition in our home, how we keep it. So when I have time, as much as the children, my kids are a bit grown now, so it's
Okay.
it's a bit easier for me. But even before they were this age, I when I am done with them, I make sure, no matter how tired I am, I make sure I find a way to let my husband know that I still have him
Okay.
at heart. I still care about him. I still love him. It might not be a 3 hours romance. It might not be a one whole hour romance. Even if it's 2 minutes, you can just create the time to give him a peck, give him a hug, just reaffirm him, and then you can go back to caring for your kids.
And now, a lot of people feel like I know a lot of people I've spoken with, friends, a lot of people that they tell you they feel like children, and when they
Yes.
come, like rightfully said, it's going to take the affection of, it's going to reduce it to an extent. Now, as a mother, as a wife, I know this is an individual thing, but what's your advice? Do you think there should be a time where, after getting married, people should have a set time to start having children, or they should start having them immediately? Because since you rightly said that no matter what, the affection somehow reduces, no matter how you tend to do it.
I, to answer that question, I think it is a case of different stroke for different folk. There
That
are
is true.
people that get married at a time where it is paramount that they start
Having
reproducing.
kids.
Yes,
Okay.
it is. So for that kind of situation, you cannot ask them to have time to romance before the kids come in. But
Okay.
normally I will advise that it is very important that you have time to bond, have time to understand each other, have all the fun that you can have, because trust me, kids do take a toll on the relationship, if especially if you're not intentional. And then people have different emotional strength. Some people do not even have the emotional strength to um be there for everybody as such.
Okay.
So for such people, I would really advise that you have the time to bond as much as possible with your partner, do all the romance, all the trips, all the fun things you want to do before
The
the kids
trips, I
start.
love that one. That is what I'm looking forward to have. All the trips, all the whole, you know. Then
Yes,
when you now
yes,
start having them, okay, I have time for the kids now.
yes, 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 yes.
Okay, okay, ma'am. So let's even talk about the children now. Now
Yes,
we know that both parent needs to be there for these children to grow, like I did mention, to have a
certainly,
sound mind. Yeah. And
certainly.
then we still have mothers who believe that as soon as they have these children, they feel like, okay, I don't know the joy. I know there's a certain joy that comes with being a mother. Motherhood is something you can't take away from any mother when they have
Oh,
the first child. And then maybe that is the point they get carried away. That excitement, that feeling that, oh, I can't believe this came out of me. I am now a mother, so I brought a full human being out, that kind of feeling. And then
yes.
this at the point, I did my research, and this is at the point a lot of women do miss it, and they start out having issues. Now what do we do about these women? We, like you said, we have to be intentional about our couples, but the
Partner.
ladies themselves, the women themselves, how do we now overcome this too much excitement that now leads us to that place of disconnection?
You can't, it's a feeling, all right, it's a feeling. So I don't think there is a said way to get over it. There is no said way to get over it. It's a feeling. And as much as you feel this love, there's something I need to point out. You're not the only one feeling all of this love. Your
Okay,
husband feels the same love too.
but the
It's
women
the
tend
style
to
as
feel
well.
much love than the men.
I am not, I will not totally agree. I will not totally agree. It depends on
Okay,
the man.
okay.
I'm a woman, I know. So I been with my husband. I cannot, my first child is my husband. He has spoiled her. I will say
Are
that he
you
loves her more than
serious?
me. He loves her more.
There's this no, Mrs. Evan, there's this I don't know, school of thought that says when the first child is a female, the father tends to love them more than the mom. And when
Oh,
the first
I've
child
heard
is a
that.
male, the mother tends to love them more than their father would love them. So how true, how factual is even this belief?
My first child is female, and she's
Okay?
the splitting image of my husband. He is
Okay?
crazy about her. I always
Uh-huh.
accuse him that he loves her more than me. I accuse him all the time that he loves
And
her
you're
more than
jealous,
me.
right?
I am. He loves her so much. So that is why I'm not all totally in agreement with the fact that women love their children more than men. No, especially when I see the bond between my daughter and her daddy. It is
Okay.
it is out of this world. So there's no say to go back to the question you asked, there's no time frame to get over this feeling of love for your child. But like I keep saying, it's an intentional thing. As much as you love your child, you have to make sure that you are intentional in
Hello. Okay, we're still here with Mrs. Evening. Network issues from our end, I guess, and she's still here with us, hopefully. And this is romance and relationship. Viewers, today's topic is quite interesting if you ask me, because couples, when you get married, we have different school of thought. Like I did mention, children are very beautiful and they're a gift from God. They have a way of just lightening the house, bringing energy, fun, laughter, that joy to every home. And then a lot of people also differently have that school of thought that no, children tend to bring disconnection, reduce the affection couples have for each other. But if you ask me, that is why I brought a married woman with kids. I know her, I know she has a lot of kids, and you cannot even remove the fact that children brings light to every home. But at what point should couples know that she did say that you have to be intentional? There's a joy that comes with being a parent, with being a mom or a dad. That joy that okay, so everybody is having this human being everywhere, but this one is you produce this one like you brought this one out of yourself. So there's the joy that comes with it, but don't be too carried away with that joy to the extent that now you don't have any feelings or affection or the love. I was going to ask our guest, do love even reduce when the child comes, and at what point do you go back to being the same love or the same old love? Because this is very trickish. A lot of people will tell you, oh, the love can never be the same again. There is another person that is sharing. Our guest did say that she's here, and she did say that there is another person now sharing that love from the two of you. Mrs. Evening, I was going to ask you, at what, you did say
Yes,
that
please.
when a child comes in, that means there is somebody now sharing the love. It's no
Yes.
longer the two of you. But is there any
Yes.
point in time the love will go back to normal, or it will just remain like that?
Okay, no, there is no sharing of love. There is sharing of
Okay.
attention.
Attention. Oh, thanks for that correction. I love that.
Yes. Yes. Love.
Right.
The love you have for your child is totally different from the love you have for your husband. It's
Okay.
also totally different from the love you have for your sibling and the love you have for your friend. They are
Wow.
different. Love is it's
Really?
versatile. It's very
Okay.
vast. So there is yes. You don't love your husband and your friend the same way. You love both of them in two different ways. You can take a bullet for both of them, but it's still different love. I don't know if you understand.
Okay. And
Can you hear
so
me?
now,
Yes,
yes, I
yes.
can hear you. Go
So
ahead. I can hear you loud and clear.
yes. So the love you have for your partner does not diminish because you have a child.
Okay.
They only share your attention. You don't have the full attention. You don't have all of the room to show him how much you love him anymore because there is
Okay.
someone else that needs that attention. It doesn't mean that you love him any less. So once the child grows, but the love can fade if you are not intentional in nurturing it
About
as well. Yes, if you're
okay.
not intentional in nurturing that love, it can fade. Love needs nurture. Both the love you have for your child and the love you have for your husband, they all need nurturing.
Wow, that is quite interesting, viewers. This is romance and relationship, and my guest today is Mrs. Evans. She's been doing justice to this topic today. When we say people having kids in relationship, do we is he does it reduce the love or the affection you have for your partner? And she's been doing quite justice to this topic. Now, ma'am, there are a lot of women. When they say a child comes in, it's not just about the man sometimes finding it difficult to cope or the man drafting away. Now, there's something that comes with motherhood. Like I said, I don't have children, but you can quote me wrong as well. There's something that comes with motherhood. A lot of women, they tend to like relax. Like you, that is why I picked you, Mrs. Evelyn, for this very topic. I know you have children, but all the time I see you is like a light. You just the glamour,
Oh,
the glitter. you're just shining and you have kids, a lot of them around you. So how do you double with this? Because this is where people have it wrong. When the child comes, they tend to now abandon themselves as women, as wives, as mothers, and just focus on being a mother alone. And there is nothing attractive anymore as far the husband is concerned. Hello, can you hear me, Mrs. Evening? Okay, I think we're having another network issues there again, but hopefully she will still answer that question. Now, like I was saying before she came on, there's something that has to do with couples that I really do not like. That's something I wanted to ask her. When women start having kids, I think where the problem is this, not particularly, not the kids. A lot of people say it's the kids, they are it's consuming, it's time taking. Well, that is a fact, it's time taking. It could be overwhelming. But can women, what can they do at that point? So somehow we know it's overwhelming, but how can they do to still stay afloat? To know that the husband, you need to get your husband, you need to be attractive as well, not just living or live motherhood and wife part is nothing. Mrs. Evelyn, welcome. Can you hear me now? Oh, network is not doing me good today, but she said quite a lot already as well. Can you hear me, ma'am? I think her network is very bad. So at this point, I'm thinking viewers, you should be as a wife, no matter how overwhelming that is. It's not everybody we know that has that, omugo, mother-in-law, your mother, your siblings, your aunties coming to help you out. So it could really be tiring. But try as well, like she said, you have to be very intentional. Because if you're not intentional about this, that is where the husband tends to, just go away a little bit. And if care is not taken, it becomes a problem. Can you hear me now, ma'am?
I can hear you now.
Can you
I'm
answer
having a
that
little bit
question
of
for
network
me?
issues. Okay. It's a lifestyle. I-
Okay.
It's a lifestyle, and I think um the idea you should have in your head is you're doing this for yourself, not
Okay.
for anybody, not for your husband, not for your children. You're doing
Okay.
this for yourself. If you're someone that is naturally one that likes to look put together at all times, you will find a way, you will find the time. And
Okay.
it's even you need to even find the time more when you have a child. I think you, because that is when you'll be, it's an effort. It's not easy, like you rightly stated. It's not easy at all. It is really overwhelming. Going from being on your own, single, batting when you want to bat, doing what you need to do when you need to do,
Even the
and
baby
now
get
having,
life and all that.
you know, and now having this little human boss that controls you, this little human boss that tells you, no, don't brush, come and feed me, no, don't brush, change my diaper. No, it's not easy, but you have to find the time. You have to find the time for yourself, so that you don't lose yourself. Because when you lose yourself and these kids grow up, what happens then? What happens? Because after a time they don't need you anymore. They start doing things for themselves. So, and you've lost so much. You've lost so much of your time, of your affection, of the romance you enjoy with your partner, of living your life for you. So
Okay, now,
it's an effort.
yes, I love that. So I believe you guys want to learn from this because that is the part that scares me the most. Where ladies, after putting to bed or giving birth, they just like abandon themselves, their life, and we know there is another life involved, there is another human involved, but somehow, like you said, you have to make effort. Of course, men sometimes, and
Yes.
there's this saying, I want you to correct this impression as well, that women, children should be second when we talk about family, is the wife first, is the husband first. How factual is this? Can you
Yes.
hear me?
It is very factual, because at some point, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am. Go
Yes.
ahead.
It is a very factual statement, because at some point, these children, they only need you at a certain stage in their life, at a certain point, and they become able to cater for themselves. They become able to do things for themselves, and which which is the joy of every parent at the end of the day. That is why you put in that time to nurture them, for them to be able to stand on their own. So when they stand on their own, they go out either to school or they get married or they get a job or they decide to just leave home at some point. What happens then? It's left with you and your husband, you and your partner. So these children don't come to stay forever. You're only an avenue for them to come into the world. They will leave you. The only two people that stay forever, as we Christians tend to say and believe, it's you and your husband. So that is whom you should give most of your attention to, if you ask me. Yeah. So it's a factual statement.
This is quite interesting. I had another, I differ on that, but since you said it, you explained, I think I'm falling in love with that, what you just said. Viewers, we'll go on a quick break, and now when we return, I'll still be here with Mrs. Evening. We'll do justice to this topic today. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
SR TV. Innovative content, global audience.
You're welcome back from that quick break. Yes, I'm still here with Mrs. Evening. She's a mother, of course. You can see all that motherly stuff.
I had to go and get my laptop. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I understand, ma'am. I understand. As a woman, you multitask. As a wife, as a mother, as a businesswoman, as a career woman, all that. So we understand. Also,
yes.
We understand. Yes, ma'am. Okay, now there is this thing. So, men, I've heard a man be saying, telling a priest that at some point, the wife, he started developing dislike towards the wife after the wife started had the first kid and the second. There was nothing enticing anymore. And what do you think, or what advice do you have for such men like this? Because I believe the woman did this for the two of you. For instance, I got pregnant, I have hormones, I have body changes. It's because I brought a child out for you that will even bear your name, not my name. So why hate me for no reason? Now, what's your advice to men like this? Okay, again, I think she's having network issues, and I'm still here. There's something that I didn't hear a man say one day. I was even shocked, viewers. When the man came, I was not complaining because obviously they were having issues. They brought the issue out, and the man was trying to ask the priest, "What is the problem?" I was so shocked when the man said, he doesn't know, he can't even explain, but there's this thing that just changed when the wife started having children, and especially the first child, a lot of things, and there's this disconnect, dislike, and up to now he's trying to struggle to get back to that place to work, but he can't find, he can't just do it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is something that a wife did for you, it did for the two of you. When you're saying, romance can be, relationship, marriages can be beautiful. Even children, when children comes in, it's more beautiful if you ask me. But at some point, we men, like this man, for instance, I say now begin to find the woman unattractive, or the mood was no longer there. The feeling, even sexual feeling to have sex was no longer there. And I was going to ask my guest what to do in this kind of situation, but obviously she's not even, she's having network issues. The thing is this, I feel like no matter what, like she said, of course, like I said, I've never had children, but the doctor will always tell you when to start having sex after giving birth. I think they have a specific period of time, a month, weeks, and all that. But I want to believe that when that time comes, okay, maybe you have to take off sex, you have to take off your husband for like a month or a week. When that time is come and gone, you should find a way to be intentional about, to have more children at that point, but to satisfy one another. Okay, you are welcome back, ma'am. I was just saying of a scenario. There's so much noise from your end. Can you hear me?
The audio is there's an interference. I think it's better now.
Okay, you have to put one off for us to stay. It's as if two, you're using, you're connected to us from two different devices. One will have to go off.
Oh,
Can you
it's a
hear me
little
now?
interference in echo.
Can you hear me now? Okay, that means there's a little bit issue there with your audio. Go off and come back, right?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't. I can't hear you. I don't know.
Go off and come back. Just come with
All right.
one. Don't connect to laptop or phone. One is okay. Yes, people. So a little network issues here and there. We're familiar with that already. You already know the country we live in, so it's not strange. But I was just saying something. When people tend to like, okay, at what point should you have sex? I'm going to bring a doctor on this show because that is a very sensitive part of marriage that doctors will have to explain at what point do you start having sex after childbearing. At what point should you come together as a man and wife again? You know what I mean? Now, I feel like when a man says, I no longer find her attractive, or I just dislike her, the love just reduces drastically without no explanation. If you ask me, it's not fair. And don't forget also that marriage is a joint effort. You have to work together. So at that point, like I did mention, sometimes the body change, the body type, the body it comes with hormones. Somebody might have a child, might be pregnant, and your body is still the same, and they don't even crave for. That is why when people are pregnant, they crave for weird things. I had a neighbor that once said she woke everybody up around 2 a.m. that she wants to drink Gulda. Like, I don't get it. So at the end of the day, these hormones could affect your bodies, your reasoning, and that is why sometimes women also have this. I don't know the name of that. I don't know. There's a name for it where they see immediately they see the child, they start crying. Oh, I don't want the child. It's going to take my husband away from me. So it differs from one person to another. But it would be nice for men to know that my wife will need all the support at this point in time. If I have a child for you to bear your name in the part of the Africa where a lot of white come from, the child solely, even part of the other developed country, I want to believe that a child will bear the father's name. And so, for that reason, the man also should also contribute at that point. We did mention, my guest said, and I said also that that process is quite exhausting where a child comes in, like she said, the child is going to tell you, maybe you want to go and eat, the child start crying, you have to drop that food and come and attend to the child. Maybe you want to go and bathe and the child start crying. So they dictate your life at that point in time. Nevertheless, you can still have time. And that is why cooperation comes in. At that point, you know your child is baby is crying. What do you do as a husband? You have to be there for the baby and for the wife. And wife as well. I believe when the husband is there for you, maybe nurturing the baby, carrying the baby, trying to make the baby stop crying, you also find that time to look good, attractive for your husband alone, and not just being attractive, but make sure they are there, be intentional, you are still here, we're in this together, I love you still. And so the love even comes stronger because I don't share. I know you have your view, but this is my personal view. I don't share the belief. I don't belong to the school of thought that says children tends to make couples drift apart. No, I don't share that school of thought. I believe that children should bring them together. That is what I believe. So every couple, every wife, every husband should be intentional about this. When all people that tend to just have children together, of course, it's not everybody that it's not only married people we talk about. There are people who comes in agreement. I just want to have a child. I don't need the marriage. Yes, even for those such people, you should be able to know that a childbearing comes with a lot of stress and changes. The changes is paramount. There's nothing anybody can do about it. But you have to work your time, everything around the changes. And then when we talk about sex as well, married people, when you have a child, there's this thing, a school of thought as well. I'm a little bit worried that my guests are still having network issues. I would have loved, because she's married, she's been married for years. I would have loved to hear from her. Where women tend to be reluctant about sex after having children. I want to know how correct is this, how factual is this. But I'll leave that for a married woman to answer that question, because you cannot be, that is your duty. Now, even I believe every religion say that it is your duty, it's your duty to satisfy your husband, for your husband to satisfy you. So I don't want to believe that a child comes in between, or the child comes in and you say, oh, I am not in the mood, I'm tired, I've been breastfeeding, the baby has been crying and all that. Like we say, it's overwhelming, but find time to do these things. And so your husband, at that point, you don't push him away, but he will still understand. Even if maybe you're doing like 100%, you can do the 100%, you can do 50, 60, and he knows that, okay, my wife is still here. You know that thing they say in Africa, body no be firewood. So you need to be intentional, you need to be there, you need to find a way to please one another when it comes to that part. I have been trying to wait for my guest, but obviously she's still having network issue. But from all what she said today, the take home there is that be intentional about your partner. Be intentional about knowing that I am a mother, I'm a father, I still have a partner that needs my attention, my affection, and my love, so that you do not break each other even more, or make one just follow a path that will bring distress at the end of the day. Well, thank you so much for being part of the show today. And thanks to our guest as well, even though network couldn't allow us to ask her all the basic questions we needed to ask. But we've heard from her. Children, like I said, are gifts from God, don't get me wrong. And I said in my introduction that children have a way of bringing smile, joy, happiness, peace, love to every home. They are beautiful. So if you have them, you should be grateful that you have children. But don't allow children also to bring that disconnection between you and your partner. Please, there should be love, different kind of love. And make sure that this love is being practiced to the fullest, or is being shown, is being whatever. Do it very well, so that we keep building stronger family bond, strong family affection. Everything will become perfect. Not perfect, but at least close to perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm Princess Kessy. Do where to share, to like, and of course invite somebody to the page. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Just follow us and bring people to the page. A lot is happening here on SRTV, and we will bring you more to have yourself a very beautiful Saturday. I remain yours truly, Princess Kessy. Bye.
SRTV. Innovative content, global audience.